is Akeada being impaled by the swords that are held by the two saches that were sent by pretty much their queen, requesting, "Hey sniper, we had a good night." Yeah. This sounds unpleasant. By the way, Akeada, have you noticed that progress masteries? I have everything interrupted, so no. I had everything interrupted already, so I didn't notice. But Sniper, how you doing? I'm doing good. I'm gonna go ahead and send this. But anyways, yeah. Akeada went to, the queen told Akeada to pretty much get rid of them because they were not forcing, but demanding the queen to pretty much hand over resources that they can gather themselves now with that mine shaft that they set up in the last iteration that we did, or talked about. When they were setting up the buildings, they found a blueprint type thing to set up a mine shaft, and they did that out of the cave that they popped out of. So their old home is now going to be a mine shaft. Damn it. Sniper, how you doing, by the way? I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. We're going for the chest. Place units, everybody. But yeah, Queen told Akeada to pretty much get rid of them. She didn't like the way that they were talking to her. Hammer and pike combos. Hammer and pike. Sounds like fun. We just got off of Dauntless. Cause it's story day, and story day is our a day I actually look forward to doing quite a bit. I like talking about the story. I like talking about it. Anyways, Queen told Akeada to get rid of him, so he went to go get rid of him. He reached out, and one of them pretty much crouched down into a stance, hand on the hilt and hand on the sheath. Like somebody's gonna dash forward, one foot in front of the other, kind of kneeling down, one stretch back, ready to pounce, with doing like a quick draw. Like in some shows where they run forward with their hand on their sheath. It's katana. It is in the shape of a katana. Not necessarily a curved katana, but just a straight sword. Straight, single-edged, thin blade. And it could reach forward. He went down in his stance, lunged forward, drawing the sword, slashing Akeada's arm. Not necessarily cutting it off entirely, but went deep. His arm flew off, but he it pushed his arm back, so it left his chest wide open, so he slashed, put it back, and then thrusted forward, stabbing it through Akeada's chest, him falling on the ground, and then him pushing the sword into the ground, holding Akeada down. And then the other ones kept talking to the queen, drew his sword, and stabbed it through Akeada's head. And they both left their swords there, and left. Keeping Akeada pinned to the ground. There's the initiation, not initiation, the old one. I really need to go back and highlight these. That was like the longest one I did. Longest one I did. Go ahead and place your units, everybody. Don't forget. But they left. Some time passed. The queen called in some of her saches to pull these swords out from Akeada. They managed to finally pull the one from his head out. He healed, and as they were trying to pull the one in his chest out, he came back to, because he's pretty much unconscious. He had a sword sticking out of his face. So he came to, while they were trying to pull the sword out of his chest, he grabbed a sword in his chest and he pulled it out. While sitting up, threw it to the side. Like he threw it down to the ground. Thinking to himself, how can he prepare for next time? Because they were trained, obviously, because they already had like a stance and stuff like that. And they had metalworking. Completely new to them due to... Oh, thank you. They're completely new to it. They have no metalworking. They just came out of the ground. They have no grasp of tools just yet, but they're just going through all the stuff, all the knowledge that the previous owners of the Great Tree had stored in the roots of the tree. And they just found how to build housing, so they did that. The biocrystal on his chest and now on the rest of his body grew just slightly stronger due to it cracking and breaking the swords. Now it's just a little bit stronger. He still doesn't necessarily have control over it to do what we talked about before. That's going to come at a later date. But now they have swords of themselves. They have 2 swords that they can use if they want. But they don't really have any grasp on how to use it. Because they've never seen a sword before. The people in the trees didn't have any weapons themselves either. They have tools down under the roots, but that's just for like mining and building and stuff like that. He's humanoid. Everything on the plant is, Hey Jake, what's up? Everybody on Thor is a plant. It's the life forms there were evolved from plants. How did they get access from tools? From the previous owners of the tree. The previous owners of the tree were there to mine. They were mining, digging out under the great tree. Not enough to make it fall over because it's a world tree. Its roots are spread way far out. But there's now a big hole under the great tree. I look sexy. What? Yeah, I love it. No. The only thing that's on Akeada's mind right now is pretty much fighting. Because he was born to fight, and that's about it. Jack plays. That's all Vanters were born to do, is they're the vanguard of their tribes. You are a warrior. Yes. The god of war. No. No. Looks like a snake. He's not a snake. He doesn't look like a snake. You know, it's where they have all the. It's where they kept all their knowledge. The previous owners, you can call the previous owners like a labor force. They were kind of forced to do mining for the forest tribe. Chad. It is Akeada the only. No. Most of the adventures are about protecting and fighting. It's just in Akeada's tribe, he is the only Vancer that they have. Other tribes that are bigger have multiple Vancers. But much, much bigger. Like civilization size. Civilization size. And there's a small little tribe. They're just learning how to do stuff, pretty much. They are babies. But anyways, the people that were just there, that stabbed and impaled and pinning Akeada to the ground, pretty much are trying to get the exact same thing from this queen from the last. This queen's not necessarily budging like the other queen did. The other group was kind of defenseless, why they were so easily slaughtered by Akeada from the first place. You know, as long as he's a Vancer, he was born to fight. He was born to fight. He may be the youngest in his tribe, but he was still born to fight and they were not. So he's the tallest, he's the most. He was born to fight. But he doesn't, unlike most of the other Vancers right now, he doesn't have access to his physical magic yet. Physical magic, black magic, whatever you want to call it. He doesn't have access to that just yet. It's bigger tribes. Oh yeah. It's like a 2v1 situation. I mean, sometimes in video games you can win a 2v1 situation, but odds are you're gonna lose. Hello, Archie. How you doing? Can I say something intelligent? Can you? Thank you for the follow. Wait, so what are you trying to say? I think I'm misreading some of the things. Sorry. Huh? It's not grammar that's the issue. It's the fact that I'm dyslexic and I'm misreading things. That's what I'm getting at. You are living your dreams. Cryptic. I mean, some people would like to travel, some people don't like to travel. I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm as happy as I can be right now. Live your life, and yeah, I agree. Living your own life is the way to go. Don't just follow the footsteps of others. I mean, you can follow the footsteps of others if you want, if that's what you choose to do. But choose what you want to do. My first story time. Hey, Sneaky. Glad you stayed. Yeah, I'm choosing to do what I want to do, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm happy. I'm as happy as I can be. Hi. Welcome. I'm gonna go ahead and send this in at 10, the raid. What you got, Archie? Hope you're doing good. Hope you're having happy. Let me lay on your head. Why would I lay on my head? Thank you for summarizing for me, Mug. I appreciate it. Because, well, anyways, the old Sanchez leave for a time again, and the sounds uncomfortable. I mean, it can be comfortable for some people. Maybe some people just want to lean on somebody's head. Some people like their head scratched. Some people like their stomach scratched. But anyways, Akeada goes up to his spot. He picked the highest point on the tree to pretty much, that's where his room is. All the little people got rooms on the ground that they got now. They built little huts around it, around the big tree. The queen took place in the tree itself, right above the under part. So pretty much once you enter the tree, you have the queen's room, and then there's a stairwell in the very back that leans down. So if you think about it, you got the giant tree, right? That's just huge. It's massive because it's a world tree. It's a baby world tree, but it's still a world tree, and it's just massive. The inside of it and the base is slightly hollowed out for a room. Still like a good size room, like a living room size. And towards the very back, it's like a stairwell that goes down and it spins. It's a spiral that goes downwards in the bottom of the tree. And that's where they stored a bunch of the knowledge that they previously had. All their mining information, building. Didn't necessarily have anything about like military force or anything like that, because they were not a military force people. What is the special about the tree? It's a world tree. It's one of the biggest trees in the Prothor. It's one of the, it can be the biggest tree in Prothor. Prothor being the planet that they're on. And what's special about the tree is that it's a world tree. It also prevents other smaller trees to invade its territory as well. It's an invasive tree. So around the grove is flatlands. A great distance of flatlands that's just tall grass. The key to navigate to, it's at the top of the tree. He can go outside and just climb up. That's what he does. It's like when you climb a tree, pretty much. It's not necessarily a tree house. It's open. There's no ceiling or anything like that. It's just a tree. Yeah, that's where he lives. He chose up there so he can have a bird's eye view of the surrounding. And if you want an example, think about the tree from Dragon Ball Z. I forgot what the tree was called, but that tree. You can think about that tree. I'm gonna go ahead and send it. I like the background music. Well, thank you. The Tree of Might. Thank you. Yeah, think about the Tree of Might. Just think about it like that. It's like the perfect example. Do animals live on plants? Yeah, I like small little critters. I like Japanese cartoons. Hey, what's up, Balrog? How you doing, buddy? Do any animal? Alright with that. Cool. Probably. Kind of. He kind of just crawls his way up there. He hasn't been up there too much. They just got all the stuff up and going. But they are now being threatened by yet another clan, or yet another tribe that has advanced weapons, stronger weapons than they do. And stuff like that. So, Akeada climbs to the top of the tree, pretty much to keep a lookout. And then he's going to start pretty much training. Not necessarily like punching in midair and stuff like that. He's going to just start doing what he can to get stronger. Just to him, he knows that there's going to be a fight he knows that there's going to be a fight coming soon. And the queen is trying to come up with ideas to help defend their new home. But she doesn't necessarily have the mind for combat, and he doesn't really have the mind for strategy. He just knows single thing. Fight. That's it. He is not a strategist. He is not a strategist right now. His brute force is his way. Just fight. Pretty much. But they do have 2 swords right now. Akeada took one of them up top, and the queen has the other, and trying to pretty much figure it out, think about stuff, trying to strategize, seeing if she can make more of them, but she doesn't know how. Seeing if she can replicate it in some different ways, but she has no idea either. All of their knowledge that they have now is all for just building and mining. The queen hot or not? I mean, I guess that depends on what you think is hot or not. The queen's look. Prep tag. Queen's look is she has like a bloom on her, like her head is like a bloom. She has, that's a good way of explaining it. Two leaves that are behind her head that curl backwards. I don't know what's a good way of explaining it. A flower. A flower fro? No, it's just not a flower afro. It's like a flower that is bulbing, but the front of it is gone and it just starts right here and it goes back. It's like half a bulb of a flower. That is now starting to bloom since they got out of the cave. But again, they're more on the root side, so towards the base, her feet are more like rootish. She has vines or roots coming off of her as well from the top of her head. Kind of like how Akeada has the long root on his head as well. He has, I guess, a tail head. He has a small vine going off the top of his head, and he also has a tail. A thick, nice tail. Well, if you guys don't know what it looks like again. If you don't remember, if you don't remember what Akeada looks like, this is what the back of him would look like. With the long tail, the armor on him, and then his feet with, I guess like the bird feet where you can grab stuff. And of course the front. Bird. Yeah, he's got the bird feet. He's got plates on him as well. The bio crystal. That's what most of the root people's base looks like. The queen has buds on her now. But that's what most of them are going to look like. The only one that's not necessarily budding is going to be Akeada. What are you talking about, Bun? Oh, I didn't start the battle, my bad. Dang! Go ahead and throw him some assassins down, guys, cause yeah. We're gonna need some tanks too. we're gonna need some tanks. I could have upgraded before I put my darn unit down. And we're gonna need some massive tanks. Anyways, Akeada's up top. He's looking at the sword. He looks like the hobo knives. He's up top with the sword. he's pretty much examining it. He cuts his hands a few times handling it because he doesn't know how to handle it just yet. Runs his hand down the blade, cuts his hand, and heals. So on and so forth. He runs it across his biocrystal. It's cutting the biocrystal slightly, but the biocrystal is going to start getting a little bit stronger and stronger. He doesn't necessarily know it's going to get stronger and stronger, so he's not going to just intentionally break his biocrystal. Fine, his biocrystal can at least take a few hits of it as well. It cuts through his biocrystal when he chops at it. He heals fast enough, and it heals fast enough before they can pull back and then swing again. So at least he has some defense against the swords as well. Of course, it's going to cut into him. He's going to feel it. But he has some defense he can use against the swords. Not too much, though, but he has some. The queen pulls in some saches to help her think of different ways that they can use, if they can use other things as weapons as well. Some of them are going to use mining tools for combat as well, like pickaxes that they have. There's stone pickaxes, pretty much sticks with stones tied to the top of them, because that's really the only tool that they have. They had no metalworking before, due to the other clan, or this clan that's now approaching them in fear of an uprise. So they didn't let the previous ones have pretty much metalworking. They're mining metals, and they're going to be giving it to them for them to metalwork and do stuff like that. How long is this? Can we just listen to this one? I guess a lot of them just sound the same. Anyways, they're all like in a rush, kind of in a panic, because they're going to be coming back again to try to make the queen submit. And become another, pretty much workforce. Slaves to them. Just like the old tribe. Death to the horse! And just like last time, they gave the queen a few cycles to think about it, and then they're to come back. Those people. I'm gonna back out of that. He's almost 20. Aww. But anyways, some time has passed. His biocrystal got a little bit stronger. Not too much. The sword still cuts into him. But he has gotten stronger from climbing the tree, jumping around in the tree. Like a gnat flying around me. Or from stuff like that. The queen and some of the saches devised kill the gnat. Queen devised some of the like makeshift weapons. Now gonna be using stones, kind of like hammers, pretty much. Big sticks tied with big rocks. Pretty much very primitive. Hatchets with stones, kind of sharpened, not too much. Just them hitting rocks against each other, trying to sharpen them that way. Not too much that they could do right now. Not too much that they can do. So some time has passed. They've been all doing that. And Akeada noticed that there is people approaching again. Or more satchels approaching again this time. But in a much larger force. Last time there was 2. There's like a group of them. 4 to 5. Rushing through the tall grass. You can't necessarily make it out due to how tall the grass is. But he can see that there are multiple and they're heading towards the tree. Akeada climbs down from the tree. By the time they approach, the Queen of Satches meet them outside, not letting them in. They've come for the answer this time, but they're gonna try forcing the Queen to give them an answer this time, because the Queen refused before, and a time before that, and a time again. But there's more of them. They have more weapons. They each have a sword, and the Grove only has 2 swords now. 2 of the Satches have swords. They don't necessarily know how to use them. They just know to poke them with the pointy end. That's pretty much the extent of what they know. They just be waving it around, not knowing what to do. But they approach. One approaches. One stands in front of the other two. The other 3, because there's 4 of them. And asks the Queen again for the last time if they will serve them in mined resources on the Great Tree. The Great Tree doesn't necessarily pull up resources like that. It's just a very rich resource area. And they know it. But they don't necessarily want to do it themselves. So they pretty much are trying to do with slaves. But the Queen says no. And then the one Satch that was just standing in front of them pretty much just says to attack. But don't kill all of them. Their main target is going to be the Queen, because everybody's following the Queen's lead. And so they're going to try killing the Queen. And forcing the rest of them to pretty much be slaves and mine. It's gonna work them to death. Because without the Queen, they'll pretty much just not know what to do. So the Queen is the lead. But Akeada is still climbing down a tree. They draw their swords and they start approaching. He's about halfway down the tree, but he's not gonna necessarily make it in time, so he jumps off the tree. And he just free falls straight on top of the one that told the rest of them to attack. So he smashes. If you want to get a good idea, think about the 3-point landing in Dauntless. Just something like that. He lands directly on him, smashing him, killing him instantly, and stands up. Free falling. He just jumps off the tree and just lands directly onto the Satch that was giving the rest the orders. The other ones jump back, draw their swords, or point their swords to Akeada. Akeada still has one of the swords in his hand, because he was playing with it before, trying to experiment with it and see what's what. He picks up the other guy's sword. They didn't get damaged in the free fall, only the guy died. He takes it out of the sheath, and he points the rest to it. That sounds like a sticky situation. Definitely. Solstice being lewd. Involved. So boom. So Akeada pulls out the other sword from the sheath and he points it to the other two. Two of them are running at him with their swords. I was trying to think of a different way. They start running at Akeada. One jumps into the air to do a downward slash, and the other one's going for the legs. Akeada lifts up the one leg that he was going for and raises the other sword to pretty much collide with the other one. So as he's holding the other sword, he still has his left hand free, and he swipes it at the Vancer who went for his leg. Not Vancer. Swipes it at the Satch who went for his leg. The Satch jumps back, but narrowly getting his head cut off. Akeada is fast with it. Doesn't necessarily know what he's doing. He's just flailing it around. Or not necessarily flailing, he's just swinging it. Pretty much cuts his neck, but doesn't cut it off. It's just a graze. He jumps back, and the other one gets pushed back because Akeada flings him off. And then the other two charge at him that are standing in front of him. Because the other two were on the side, so now two more are running at him while the other two recover. They pretty much go to do overhead. He blocks both of them with the sword by just cross guard. And the other two that are on the sides are running at him as well. But since Akeada is necessarily stronger than the other two, they're pushing down, trying to keep his attention. Akeada notices the two running at him. He pushes both swords apart, pushing them back, and the other two that are running at him, he pretty much cuts them both in half. Cuts one heads off and one straight down, not straight down, cuts the other one like diagonally in half. Now those two are both dead. And Akeada is walking towards the other two. They start trying to run away. They get into the tall grass. He looks back at the queen and she says, hunt them down. So he just charges straight into the grass. He's a lot faster than them, so he's running a lot faster through the grass. Savage. He's running a lot faster through the grass. As they are running, they're trying to cut the tall grass in front of them to pretty much get faster. Clear the way a little bit. As they're cutting down the grass, Akeada bursts out of the grass behind them and stabs one in the back, pushing him to the ground, grabbing his head with his feet, pulling the sword out and flinging the other one, and flinging the one he just stabbed at the one running away. He hits him in the back, falls down to his ground. Huh? No. As the other Satch is trying to panic, he's starting to panic to struggle to get the other one's dead body off of him that has a sword impaled in his back. He finally gets up Akita just throws the sword, barely hits the guy, lands right next to him. The Satch looks at the sword, looks at Akita, and just starts running away again. Akita just starts bursting forth, breaking the ground with each step, and then grabs the back of his head because his hands are bigger. His hands are big enough to just grab the guy's head. So he grabs his head, he lifts him up, and just slams his face into the ground, smashing his face and breaking his head. Or just cracking the just breaking it open. But all of them are dead now. Akita grabs the swords they had, the one he threw, pulls the one out of the dead body, and starts walking back to the grove to give these swords to the queen. Now they have 4 swords, but Akita knows now that they're dead, more are gonna come once they don't return. He doesn't necessarily know how long. Is the sword is small? Same style? Yeah, it's the same style. It's just small. They're. Let me try to find something that looks like it. When I have a picture in my mind. Think about a katana, but not curved. A katana that's not curved. And a little bit thicker. That's the style that they have right now. Because curving it's would be a lot harder than you would think. Right now it's just straight. So now they have 4 swords, including the other 2 that they had before. So they have 6 swords in all. Yeah, I guess so. They're not necessarily too tall. Zigzag katana. Yeah, Ninjatsu's, yeah, that works. That's a good way to look at it, yeah. They don't have hilts, not hilts, they don't have, Naruto Akita? They don't have handguards. It's just, a handle and then straight to the blade. That's pretty much what that is. Is there a bunny in the story? I mean, there could be grass bunnies. Grass bunnies in the fields? Yeah, that's fine. No grass bunnies with long leaf ears. Anyways, he gets back with all the new swords. He gives them to the queen. She hands them to. Hey, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Grove. Good to have you. It's funny talking about the Grove and then say welcome to the Grove. Welcome to the Grove. It's good to have you here. We're currently doing story time. We're probably gonna take a little break from it and go do something else. Just let me relax. I'm gonna start getting too excited and speaking too fast and getting ahead of myself. This is my home. My home. Get out. Will take care of me. Anyways, she hands them to other Satches as well. So now those Satches have swords of their own. Akita is gonna keep 2 to himself for now. So the 2 that he got, that 2 that he was using, he's going to keep. He grabbed the swords, the sheaths, and he also grabbed some of the other stuff that they had on them. It was just kind of like rations for now. They didn't necessarily bring too much. Just a belt to hold the sword, the sheath, and the sword itself. And we discussed it was a Janto this time, guys. It was a Janto sword. They're kind of short for Akeada because again he's taller. For guys didn't know, sachets are around 5 foot. 5 foot is the base for sachets. They could be shorter, they could be a little bit taller, and Akeada is 7 foot. Akeada is 7 foot and they are 5 foot. The queen is just a little bit taller, a little bit higher average than the sachets. So the sachets are around 5, 4 to 5. The queen is 6, so 5 to 6, and Akeada is pretty much 7. He's a tall boy. He's tall. He is Shaq. You know, he's tall. He has big arms, and he also has he can grab things with his feet as well. So they are now preparing themselves for an incoming fight that they know it's going to happen. They know it's going to be a much larger force. The queen is pretty much not necessarily evacuating, but preparing, getting people into the cave that they came out of. So now the mine shaft, since they know how to navigate through the mine shaft, they go down there. Only a few stay. The queen goes down with the rest of them. Only a few stay that had swords. So 4 of them are staying up with Akeada, preparing for the incoming battle. They don't necessarily know when it's going to come, so they're just getting ready for it. Akeada's up in the tree, now practicing with some of the moves that he saw that the other sachets deployed. So pretty much like the quick slash that one of them tried to do at his feet, and then an overhead slash. He doesn't know too much. Pretty much the only the quick draw, where you charge, not just charge forward, you dash forward, and you immediately slash. That's pretty much what he was saw. He was picking up things as he fought to now employ himself. So he's in a tree, he's practicing with the swords, keeping an eye out, getting ready to let everybody know when they're coming. But they don't know like how long of a journey it is from the grove to their tribe. So it could be a few days, it could be weeks, it could be months. It's not necessarily gonna be a year. That's too long. But it's gonna be like a few months, a few weeks. So they're just preparing. They're now more in a rush, so they're getting stuff done faster. They're actually mining now, trying to get metal themselves. They don't know how to work it, but they're mining now. They have some defenses now. They set up pretty much sharpened sticks with the swords that they have, because it's a lot easier to sharpen the wood with. They stuck it in the ground like pikes, just sharp pikes stuck in the ground at an angle. They just have pointy sticks sticking out of the ground, trying to get some defense going. Pretty much anything that they could do to help them win. And they just pretty much keep doing that. War pike. Some of them have spears. Spears, hatches, big hammers. Well, hammers being sticks with rocks tied to them with vines and tall grass that they weave together for extra strength. Same thing with the hatchets and stuff like that. No. He's he's like a year, little over years of age. He's not not very old. Not very old at all. But Akeada's getting better, more efficient with the sword. Every day that passes, he's not necessarily breaking. They don't have to sleep. They don't have to stop and do too much. They only really need to drink water for their nutrients. For now. They can eat. Sniper has ignited into a star. Thank you. Thank you for joining the stars. Welcome on in. I will be getting you your flare here after the stream. I like the sound of the grove. Well, thank you. And thank you for shining your light and becoming a star. Thank you. Welcome to the Grove, Sniper. Welcome to the stars. Mugu. Thank you for the mighty harvest. Much appreciated. And whoever just got those emotes, make sure you thank Mug. Make sure you thank Mug for those snacky emotes. Thank him. Thank him. Alright guys, make sure you place your units. Place your units. So anyways, as the time goes on, Akeada is still practicing. He's keeping his eye out. He's watching a watchful eye. Getting more efficient and proficient with the swords and how to handle them. Okay. And they're also, some of the snatchers are going out in the tall grass and setting up traps. Setting up pitfalls. They're digging holes down, setting up spikes down there, and then covering it with tall grass as they start cutting the tall grass around the grove as well. To at least shorten it so they can see straight. Also, if you guys are wondering why is tall grass, like I said before, the great tree, the world tree, is evasive. It pretty much makes it so other trees cannot set roots in that area. So as the big tree grows, the field grows with it. So the field is the entirety of the grove's reach, pretty much. And the great tree itself has a bioluminescent ring that goes around it, that floats around it, and that's how they tell the days on the planet, because there's no stars in the sky. The planet itself is heated for thermal activity inside the planet. The planet is massive. It contains everything in the known universe, because it's before the Big Bang, guys. Before the Big Bang. It contains everything. Dark energy, dark matter, pretty much everything. Want like a size to kind of see what it's like? Think about a red giant star. Further on this planet. Need them stars. The planet is lined up from bioluminescent. Some of the plants that are on the ground, they glow like bushes. Other life forms have bioluminescent as well. Akeada's light is red. So his bioluminescent itself is a red glow on him. Snatches have some, not a lot. And if you guys are wondering how Akeada sees, he sends pulses out. Kind of like, not necessarily echolocation. He doesn't make a sound. It's like, I guess you could say sonar. Like the mini-map you have on games that show enemies' locations. It's kind of like how it is. Bop, man. It's kind of how it is. He's sending out pulses out to see the area around him. They have eyes, but they're not very developed due to the fact that they were underground for so long. So anyways, they're doing that. They're getting ready. Time has passed, and it keeps passing by, and they just still get ready. I figured it would. Oh, you can use as much as you want. Yeah, it's a substitute for that. That's fine. Oop, it's time to send it. This is the big battle. Let's go. Let's go. Big battle. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. There we go. Fun, but no! I'm still stuck. Uh-oh. You still got a huge force ahead of us. Get him, warrior. Oh, warrior's gonna die. Oop. Okay, as long as those die, we're good. Well, those guys are boosting our defense, though. Chuck your bombs! Chuck your bombs! Oh, we might lose this one. I'm gonna die real quick. We needed more tanks! We needed more tanks. Akeada with the unofficial loadouts. Nice. With the unofficial loadouts. Ah man, we lost. Barely. We still have a bomber up here. What are you doing? You're a bot. Run away. One last heal. Oh, another last heal. Get ready to run! Run! Oh, did they actually kill him? What the heck? It's chasing him down! It's chasing him down! Oh, the musketeer's going. And the healer's gonna go over here and do her job and heal. No! Not like this. Ooh! Heal him! Heal him quick! No! Bind! We got so close. I can't believe we won that. I can't believe we won that. I can't believe we won. It's crazy. Attack drone with those 50 kills. To the queen. One musketeer with the save. I know, right? And now we got another huge battle to do too. Man, there's just no breaks. There's just no breaks. The massive kills. Alright, can we get some tanks down? I'm gonna go and throw down a bomb. Get some tanks. I'm gonna upgrade my barbarian now. Oop, I was about to go to Alright, so back to this. Anyways, some time passed. They got already. You sees that there are now a large force approaching the grove with a lot more people behind it, but there is a bigger guy in the lead. somebody much bigger than the rest of the people behind him. Akeada narrows in on this one guy as they all just start walking through the tall grass. As they're walking through, some of them start falling into the pit holes with 26 at the bottom of it, so they're falling through and they're getting impaled and pretty much dying right then and there. Well, they just keep pushing forward. It's a good size force. It's not a small force. It is a full squad. Not really a squad. It's bigger than a squad. It's not necessarily an army size. It's like this. Just like this size right here. This size of people. Just a big group with a big guy in front. And they're approaching the grove. Some are falling, but they now know that there's traps and they're being a little bit more careful. Akeada walks to the edge of one of the branches on the great tree and waits. As they slowly approach the grove. They finally get to the edge of the tall grass, and Akeada jumps off the top of the tree, just falling straight towards the bigger guy. He draws both swords as he free falls, getting ready to just slam or slash into the bigger guy. Bigger guy notices the other Vancer, if you guys didn't pick up on that, I guess. The Vancer draws his sword, and his sword's a great sword, an actual, like, claymore. Draws it and gets into a guard stance as Akeada falls, and their swords collide, stopping Akeada's free fall, pushing Vancer. He hits feet into the ground, and I'll leave it there for now. It's time to take a little break. I'm gonna go finish getting my coffee, so you guys can picture that. You can picture that.